Senator Tom Cotton has questions about Biden's cocaine White House. He fired a letter off to the Secret Service asking them for more information. They've been pretty tight-lipped on this. We're wondering if they're ever going to find anybody who is answerable for this. Whether they know or whether they attempt to find them is another story. But Tom Cotton made an easy layup, sending this letter right out of the gate as soon as the substance was confirmed to, in fact, officially be cocaine. Here is what Cotton said. Coming from the United States Senate, Tom Cotton from Arkansas sent to the director of the United States Secret Service. Her name is Kimberly Cheadle. And we've seen her have some other documents and requests. One of the requests from her, I believe, came from the Oversight or the Judiciary Committee, and they were asking her about her involvement in the Hunter Biden cover-up because Secret Service allegedly was involved in some of the investigation that was being conducted by David Weiss. Cotton says, I write, Dear Director of Secret Service Cheadle, I write regarding the Secret Service's recent discovery of white powder, reportedly confirmed to be cocaine inside the White House. According to public reports, the Secret Service has not yet confirmed where in the White House, in the West Wing, the cocaine was found. Very important detail. Cotton says, I urge you to release that information quickly, as the American people deserve to know whether illicit drugs were found in an area where confidential information is exchanged. And now I've got a whole bunch of follow-up questions to this as well. I mean, okay, we've got a dime bag, but was there residue? I mean, the hazmat team was there. Did they just clean the room or did they investigate the room? Were there lines of cocaine in that library room or wherever the room was? In other words, was this somebody who just was walking around and dropped a dime bag out? As nuts as that sounds? Or were they actually using the drugs in the White House? Were they doing lines of coke in the West Wing? Did anybody investigate that? I don't know. Were there cameras in the room while where they were doing the coke? Would they do coke in a room where they knew that there were cameras? No. And if you were going to be doing coke in the White House, you would only do it if you knew you wouldn't be caught, and you'd only do it if you knew that there were no cameras in the room, which means you'd have to be somebody who was in the know about that, about whether there was cameras in the room, which means you'd have to be somebody who's relatively high up in the White House. Or nobody was actually doing the coke and the dime bag just dropped out with somebody was getting their car keys or something. If the White House complex is not secure, writes Tom Cotton, Congress needs to know the details, as well as your plan to correct any security flaws. And so please answer the following questions as soon as practicable, but no later than 5 p.m. Friday, July 14th. Please contact my staff to arrange a briefing on this matter, as well as the provision of any answers that are classified or law enforcement sensitive. Cotton demands to know the following. Who has access to the White House complex without passing through any security screening? Who can go through those metal detectors and the pat-down guys without getting the pat-down? Please provide a complete list of all individuals. Cotton says, who has access to the White House complex while subject to lesser security screening requirements than the most complete screening required of all individuals accessing the West Wing? Please provide a complete list of all individuals, along with a description of the lesser screening requirements and the reasons that they're not subject to complete screening. So zero security. Who has ability to go through with zero? Who has the ability to go through with lesser? And I want the names of the people. The Secret Service annual report for fiscal year 2022, Cotton's going with the power of the purse now. He says that the screening canine program, where they sniff for drugs, which you would imagine they've got all over the place at the White House, they screen approximately 10 million visitors to the exterior of the White House each year. So how many visitors to the interior of the White House are screened by these canines? Please provide a description and the circumstances under which the Secret Service chooses not to use canines for screening. In the past 5 years, how often has the Secret Service encountered illegal drugs at the White House? And did you check Hunter's bedroom? And how often were these drugs detected during security screenings? And how often were these drugs encountered inside security areas? We'd like to know. Cotton says U.S. law provides members of the United States Secret Service with the authority to, quote, make arrests without warrant for any offense against the United States committed in their presence, or for any felonable cognizable under the laws of the United States, if they have reasonable grounds to believe that the person to be arrested committed or is committing a felony. Cotton says, obviously, illegally possessing cocaine is a crime under federal law. If the Secret Service discovers the identity of the individual who brought that illicit cocaine into the White House, will they make an arrest under this provision? Or do we need to defer this over to the DOJ or the DC police or other local law enforcement or anybody who has jurisdiction over this or can make the argument? And how often does the Secret Service audit its security procedures for the White House complex and adjust those procedures to correct the potential flaws? Please provide details regarding the most recent complete audit, including whether the audit was conducted by your people at the Secret Service or others. Thank you for your prompt attention to this important matter. Very sincerely, your friend, Tom Cotton, who sits on the subcommittee on criminal justice and counterterrorism. Right out of the gates, Tom Cotton picks up an easy win, sends a letter demanding more. We're very curious who might fall into these categories. And how do they get past the sniffing dogs? How do they walk into the White House with confidence that they can walk around the White House with cocaine in a dime bag and then leave it? And were they using it there? Were they permanently there? Are you so addicted to cocaine that you can't leave your coke at home for your day to the White House? Or is it somebody who's there regularly and this is just part of their regular routine and they're hitting lines of coke at 4th of July celebrations and Hunter's sniffing all over the place? Tom Cotton's on the case. Of course, we'll continue to follow. Thank you, my friends, for liking this video and subscribing.